Everyday Church. I hope you guys are having an awesome day today. Today is a beautiful Sunday, and I just want to say I'm Ashley, and welcome. And I hope you guys have a wonderful time enjoying our worship today. It's going to be great, and our amazing preaching that we have planned today.
Unravel me with a melody. You surround me with a song of deliverance from my enemies, till all my fears are gone. And I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. From my mother's womb, you have chosen me. Love has called my name. I've been born again to your family. Your blood runs through my veins. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. 'Cause I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. Yeah. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. You split the sea so I could walk right through it. My fears are drowned in perfect love. You rescued me so I could stand and say, I am a child of God. You split the sea so I could walk right through it. My fears are drowned in perfect love. You rescued me so I could stand and say, I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I am a child of God. I am a
Even when I'm empty, I will bring an offering. I could never live a life that cost me nothing. I just want the real thing, no matter where it takes me. I refuse to pray a word that doesn't move me. All I know right now is I'm ready, and all I want right now is the real thing, Lord. You're the real thing, Lord. You're the real thing. Is who you are. Failure in the rear view, every doubt behind me, running with the wildfire of God inside me. Throw away the timeline, no more second guessing. It's plain to see my life is not my own. It's not about me. Sing all I know, come on. All I know right now is I'm ready, and all I want right now is the real thing, Lord. You're the real thing, Lord. You're the real thing. All that I am to love you, my life, behold you. You're all my heart beats for. All that I have to serve you, my life, to praise you. You're all my heart beats for. Can we sing this verse together? Come on. Jesus, you're the real thing. Ended all my searching. I finally realized that I'm alive to bring you glory. Let's go! All I know right now, come on, is I'm ready, and all I want, lift it up, come on, is the real thing, Lord. You're the real thing, Lord. You're the real thing. All that I am, all that I am, to love you, my life, behold you. You're all my heart beats for. All that I have to serve you, my life, to praise you. You're all my heart beats for. Yes, you are. All that I am to love you, my life, behold you. You're all my heart beats for. All that I have to serve you, my life, to praise you. Come on. You're all my heart beats for.
Lord, your grace is unending, never fails, never changing. Lord, you're always pursuing, chasing me, yeah. And you fight through the darkness, bringing life when I'm hopeless. Through your love I have been set free. You've conquered, you've risen, I'm living in freedom. You've conquered, you've risen, my life is made new through the Savior's love. Through the Savior's love. Nothing can stand against you. Lord, your power will break through all my shame and my failures. Through your blood, by your love, you've conquered, you've risen, I'm living in freedom. You've conquered, you've risen, my life is made new through the Savior's love. Through the Savior's love. Chains are broken, chains are broken, chains are broken through the Savior's love. Chains are broken, chains are broken, chains are broken in His love. There is hope in, there is hope in, there is hope in the Savior's love. There is hope in, there is hope in, there is hope in His love. There is freedom, there is freedom, there is freedom through the Savior's love. There is freedom, there is freedom, there is freedom through the Savior's love.
for your glory. Oh, all of this 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 for your glory. No longer I who live, now Jesus lives in me. For I was dead in sin, but I woke up to see the light. All of this for your glory. All of this for your glory. All of this for your glory. All of this for your glory.
Good morning, A New Day Church. Michelle Gerges here. I'm here to talk about tithes. I want to just tell you a little story about my life last month. May was a really tough financial month. I'm retired, so I have a fixed income now, and everything happened. My dog got sick, needed surgery, a car broke down. I had so many things happen. And again, as those of you know that live on a fixed budget, you only have so much money. And when I got to the end of the month, I had over $100 left, and I didn't understand how. So I went back, of course, in my mind and tried to figure it out. And I'm doing all the math, and nothing's adding up. I don't know how I have money in my account, but I do know. God grabbed my heart and told me, be faithful to me, be a cheerful giver, do your tithes, help people that are in need, and I will take care of the rest. I'll work out the details of your finances. So God wants our heart, and our heart is attached to our money because what we invest our money in shows what's in our heart. So be a cheerful giver this morning. God bless.
Ted, the red light is flashing, and wait a minute. What are we right now? This isn't Briar. We're not in Briarwater. This isn't TNT TV.
No, this is church.
This is a church service,
And you have us.
yes, you have Ted and I. This can't end well. I don't know. I'm just gonna say, hey, welcome to Father's Day weekend. I hope you guys are all you get to spend quality time with Dad today. And if you don't have a biological father, I just want to remind you that you do have a Father in heaven who loves you so much and is always watching out for you. Ted, we are together here. It is Father's Day weekend. I think we probably just want to, in some goofy way, just talk about some things that have happened to us as fathers, and if there's any advice, and certainly we'll try to show some scriptures today. Anyway, of how God can lead fathers through this time period that we're in.
Yeah, it's interesting because a lot of people don't know, and I know a lot of guys won't admit it, and a lot of ladies don't know this, that being the man of the household is a huge responsibility.
Yes.
And with that, there's a lot of pressures and things that obviously the man doesn't want to talk about. He won't admit it sometimes, and so forth. So we're going to kind of let you in on some of those secrets.
That's right.
And know how we handle the strife, the stress, the anxiety, all those things that come with being a dad. Because there's a lot of fun, there's a lot of humor that me and Tom can have, but at the same time, there's the real action part that, wow, God wants us to be the man of the house and hold down the fort.
That's right. There's a lot of responsibility with that. I do need to add, though, that Dan is not with us today, so we're not sure what to do here. We're feeling a little like fish out of water. So our rock, our stability, Dan Yaden, where are you? What is going on here? What is happening? We need you here. So a little bit crazy. So Ted, I thought it would be good. I found some interesting questions. And I thought I would throw some of those at you. How do you feel about something like that?
Well, how would you feel if I was going to throw questions at you?
I would feel terrible. So, but we're all going to enjoy this together. Ted is a beacon of knowledge. He actually does, have nuggets of wisdom in here. So let's find out what that looks like. I'm just going to throw out some questions, Ted, and let's see what happens. Question number 1. All right. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
First of all, are there things you wish you had done differently as a dad? Now, I mean, our kids are not... I still have a 17-year-old at home, but for the most part, our kids are out of the house. So is there anything that you wish you had done differently as a dad?
Now, when you hear that question, there's always, I wish I would have done this, I wish I would have done this. And really what it comes down to for me as a dad is I'm going to say, no, there's not. And I say that because I am the man of God I am now because of my actions and what I did.
Exactly.
And my children are great men of God, and it took everything that we did the way we did it in order for it to turn out that way. Now, yes, are there things that I would have loved to have done along the way? Yeah, I think that, because one of the shames about life is how we always wish we could go back in time and change things or slow down time, and you don't appreciate, boy, when they're little and you just see them, you're so amazed. And then my mom used to always say a line that I just really had a hard time with. She goes, "Someday, honey, you're going to be 50 and you're going to blink and you're going to turn 50." And I would always stop her. "Mom, stop!
What are you talking about?"
And next thing you know, I blinked.
Yep.
And that little boy, when I watched him pop out, and my first one, and here he is now. He's 30 plus years old. It's like, wow, what happened? But they're two great men, and so the answer to the question is no. I don't think really there's anything I would do.
And I got to say too, if I was going to answer my own question there, one of the things that I remember, I've tried to do more with Nick being around is, like if Kim and I get into a tussle or something, I'm quick to try to say I'm sorry.
Yeah.
In front of him, to her, or if I do something that's because guys, we have to come to the conclusion we are not perfect people. As much as we try to be and as much as we want to be, our hearts might be there, we're not. And we make mistakes. And one of the things I think that I really try to do with Nick is if I cross a line somewhere, I just go back and I tell him, "Hey, you know what? I'm really sorry I said that, or I'm really sorry I did that in front of you. I shouldn't have done it." And so if I regretted anything, I probably didn't do that enough when they were little, my first two. But I want to be an example. I want to be a really good example, a biblical example in front of those guys.
And we would encourage you, if you're a young dad out there, you're going to be a dad, live each day, live each moment for what it is. And I'm going to tell you that from experience that, when you hear people saying, nobody is going to be on their deathbed saying, "I wish I worked more." And I know we've heard those things, and
yeah, exactly.
And I look back and I think, man, I wish I would have spent more time doing this with them and this. Don't get me wrong. I'm proud of the way I was as a dad. I really am. Did I make mistakes? Absolutely. And I wish I could have changed those. But looking back now, I got two great men that.
Oh yeah.
And so be encouraged. Just do the best you can, but spend more time.
Yeah.
Think about your family first and foremost. That's something you could do.
And God gives us a great a book. The Bible, it's a roadmap to success. It really is. Well, let's go to question number 2. Ted, let's see what this one has for us. Do you think fathers have things harder or easier than we had them? Like our new father, is it harder now for fathers, or would you say we had it easier, or did even our dads have it easier?
I think that's kind of a loaded question, and I'll tell you why I believe that. I think that, unfortunately, we're living in a day and age where we see the actions of some of our young people, doing crazy things. Morality's gone down.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lack of obedience to elders. And I think a lot of that comes from a lack of discipline, a lack of attention to their family. And I think that, so in some ways, I think that parents have it harder, but at the same time, they've made it that way. They've allowed it to be that way because they don't want to deal with it. And there's, so there's a lot of that going on in today's society. Now, ultimately, if I was to look at it in a godly sense, yes, there's things are harder today than they've ever been.
Yeah.
But it requires that you dig down even deeper, because you can see ahead of time what's going on in our school systems and the youth of today. A lot of them they're just out of control.
Yeah.
And with that being said, you have an opportunity now to say, no, my children aren't going to grow that way.
Yeah.
Gosh,
I remember when, it was, I think with our dad, he had a certain way of doing things, and he passed that knowledge on to us.
Oh, yeah.
Sort of, and we kind of learned from our own things too, and we've bumbled through this. So you're going to bumble through life, but oftentimes I reflect on, when I look back, I see that, man, my dad was right a lot.
Yeah.
He sort of had his finger on the pulse of things a lot.
Yeah, it was called the finger.
Right in the chest. Yeah, that's right. Because there was some discipline back in the days. We had 4 boys growing up at our house, so
That's funny. It reminds me of a time when growing up, I remember the one time I really angered my dad, and when you angered your dad.
Oh, yeah.
And I kind of sloughed it off, went in my room. I said something to my mom I shouldn't have said. Okay, it was in one of those days. And I remember my dad the door didn't just open, it kind of flew open really hard.
Yep.
Hit the wall, and there was a silhouette of a man standing there. And he had no fingers. He had no fingers because they were closed.
Yes.
And all I remember was, did you call my wife whatever I called her? And I kept thinking, his wife? Who that?
yeah.
Oh, my mom.
That's right. He had that same exact thing with me. I think he came in and he was still in work attire. The vest. This is back in the days when men wore 3-piece suits. The suit, jacket. The jacket was off. The sleeves are rolled. The vest is open and the tie is down. And I never felt so separated from my family at the moment that he came in, and he leaned into me and said, "What did you call my wife?" Now, it's at that moment that you realize, I don't believe I'm actually part of this family anymore.
No.
I feel as though I have been severed. There's a disconnect, and this dude is about to waylay on me.
But you know what the great thing is, though? The great thing is, I never called my mom a name after that again.
No, there was pure respect after that, and
yeah, absolutely.
Because he didn't really strike us or do anything like that, but he took his finger and he hit me. Did he hit you in the same place? In the central sternum, just bam, and it was.
And there was always the pride thing. You didn't want to look bad for you. It's like,
you feel the air, right?
You're just trying to breathe, but you're trying to stand there forever.
That's right. Pretty brutal.
I can't breathe.
Yes. I don't know how we go off on these tangents, but there we go. So my dad was a good man, though. He was a good man, and we learned a lot from him.
Yeah, deal with 4 boys.
That's right. All right, Ted, what do you enjoy most, do you think, about being a father?
I never, in my wildest dreams, growing up, I knew that I was going to have kids. I have a great, wonderful wife, and I never knew how much love there could be when you had kids. And when Sean came along, and he's 3 years older than my second one, and all I know is that he was a daddy's boy at first. And I remember once we knew Cameron was coming along, I really had a hard time when it was coming down to it.
Yeah.
And actually, I didn't necessarily like him overwhelmingly that first week. And God,
Really?
yeah, and it's interesting because I said, God, how is this possible? And I was pleading with God. I pleaded with my mom first. How am I supposed to love another baby as much as I've loved this one, 100%? I can't divvy up 100%. And I remember my mother saying, honey, you're going to be able to do it. You're going to be able to separate the two, and you're going to love them both the same in a different way, 100%. And I remember Cameron melted my heart after that first week there, and it was, and now it's like,
You have two radically different boys too.
too radically. Sean was 8'13", Cameron was 11'4.5".
11.4.5, ladies. 11.4.
For those of you who are pregnant.
Yikes!
So and they, the first one, I remember going around town. Yeah, I prayed about it. We got the perfect child. He's quiet. He's just perfect,
Yeah.
And I remember, God hears my prayers, And then came Cameron,
Yes.
and my world,
The wild child.
yes, my world came tumbling down, and it's one of the reasons I don't have hair.
That's
So,
right.
anyway.
It's funny, the similarities too, because my firstborn is Samuel, as you guys know, and you know how quiet and kept to himself he is. And then there was Gabriel, my artist, wild child, clever.
Yeah.
But then I got Nick, and he came along about 10 years later after those two. So wasn't a surprise. We were trying. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So Nicholas was totally different. But Nick's little young life, I remember when I first became a dad, he had to be strapped to a board, and he had this problem with jaundice, and it was so bad that a light board had to be brought to our home, and a nurse had to come in, and he had to sleep being like tied down to this thing, and I was just, is my son all right here? Is his liver fine? Is his whatever, and the same worries. And then this little dude becomes the most clever. He's the smartest one of all of them. He's the most crafty one of all of them. They're all different.
Yeah,
And
it's amazing how God does it.
It does. It's unbelievable what God gives you.
Yeah. I wanted to read Proverbs 22:6 says, start children off on the way they should go, and even when they are old, they will not turn from it.
That's right.
And, one of the things that you can do is, as a dad, because I struggled that, you want to raise your child right, you're hoping that you're doing things right, and you want to be a little different than the way your dad and mom did things, and we ministered to our kids. We gave them good moral values.
That's right.
The Bible was a key factor in our lives. And did they stray a little bit from it? Yeah, they did. They're typical teenagers, and they strayed a little bit and had fun and stuff. But now they're still God-fearing men that
That's right.
love the Lord.
That's right.
And I just am so proud. And it's, all you can do is sit back, and I look at how successful they both are in different ways. And Cameron's got this most wonderful woman in his life now that he's married, Ashley. I love her to pieces. You finally got my daughter. But and I am
He married
so
outside
proud.
his station, by the way. Ashley is awesome.
Yep.
So, sorry, Cam.
You upgraded big time, buddy.
That's right.
So,
I could tell you too. Yeah, that's. And there are a number of families that don't have that father perspective in the family, that he's not there, and I could tell you, turn to the Word.
yeah.
Turn to God. Ted just read a wonderful scripture, and there is wisdom in the Bible. There is wisdom how to raise your family, how to help your family. God has answered these questions. He is our Heavenly Father. Mm-hmm. There is no greater person we can look to. God will answer those questions. So I definitely want to make sure that for all those that don't have a father figure in the house, hey, you do.
That's right.
You do.
There. One of the key things that I when I raised my children, I wanted to make sure that I wanted to be a friend to them the whole way. We wanted to be the house where the kids would always want to hang out, and we ended up getting that. Our kids love being with us and stuff. You hang on to Ephesians chapter 6, verse 4, says, "Fathers, do not provoke your children to anger, but bring them up in the discipline and instruction of the Lord." And I'm a firm believer that I didn't need to use discipline on my kids in a spanking form and so forth. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not against spanking. As a matter of fact, Cameron had to have a couple little swats when he was younger.
That's right.
Because Cameron's Cameron. But there's no question that when we were out and things happened, I would just have to look at my kids and they knew. They was like, oops,
Yeah.
you know. And
I think
but-
we had the same exact
Yeah.
thing going on. That's right.
But the thing is, it says, fathers, do not provoke your children to anger. And, so at the same time, we're to look at what's going on in their life at the time.
Yeah.
And we don't want to anger them as well, just because our pride says, well, this or that. And we have to recognize there's a different culture going on. They're a different generation.
That's right.
And we're going to experience that more than just when they're teenagers, but when they're men. And we have to accept those things. I've learned to accept that, okay, rap is music. I've had
No,
to,
it isn't.
I've had to accept it that rap's music. So
I've actually come to terms with rap being actually pretty decent. I mean, there's some stuff I'll actually listen to, which
see,
is hard to believe.
proving that Tom does have still sin in his life.
I do have a lot of sin, apparently. But, okay, so thought I'd jump into this question because I thought this was an interesting question. And feel free to use these questions, guys. Ask the father figure in your house. What was one of the hardest moments, Ted, you had being a father, and why was it hard?
I don't know that anything can prepare you for when your child hurts.
Yeah.
Whether it's
or
a
your
medical,
spouse,
yes,
for that matter. Yeah.
When I'm looking at his Father's Day, so
That's
I'm
right.
going to keep the broad out of it. I love you, Michelle.
Michelle, hey.
But when your child is sick, and I mean really sick, or there's something going on, I just recognize when those times came, when I begged God for help.
That's right.
Because now I'm no longer, there's nothing I can do. I'm a dad and I feel powerless. All I can do is the most important thing of all is beg my God to help my child. And there's something about it when you feel that helpless in being a man that you can't do anything about your family.
That's right.
You feel like, because you do everything as the man. You have so much responsibility, and we recognize that. We know
That's
it's
right.
And I recognized it the first day my son was born. I went home, and
This
my
is
dad,
going to be something.
yeah, my dad preaching to me about, you got to get ready for it. You got to have life insurance. You got to have
Right.
health insurance. Yeah. You know all that stuff. But when you see that baby born,
Oh,
I went home and I remember I bawled like a baby
Yeah.
because at that moment it clicked. I understood about saving for my child's college, about medical, about health insurance. And it's the same thing with them being sick. When you can't help them, and all you can do is hang by their bedside, begging God to heal them, and that you would be willing to give up I'd be willing to give up my right arm to help them.
that's right.
That's what
Yeah.
I think is the hardest.
And let me just echo a little bit of what you just said. That when Kim went into the hospital for 9 days with that staph infection in her back, yes, it was very difficult on me. I had many times with God that I battled over that, and I preached on that before, and I would allow myself momentary times of weakness in the hospital when she was either asleep or out, but see, then I had to switch gears, and when I go home, I had to be a pillar for my sons. I had to tell them that things were fine, things were going to be good, we're going to get through this, God has this under control.
Yeah.
These are things that they don't have a manual for this. There isn't something that prepares you for that. It's just you have to live in that moment, and you just move forward, but you move forward by the grace of God, and you call to Him, and you ask Him for that peace, and you ask Him for help, and He provides. He gives you those moments where you can stand, tall and strong, and be who your kids need you to be at that time, because there are dark times, man.
Yeah.
There's dark times that come up.
And you brought up a really good point there about going home and being a pillar to your kids. It's so important as a man that we maintain that being the pillar of the household, even after your children are gone. Your kids need to know that. They need to have role models, and role models are important. And I've always made sure there are things in my household that, I know you do the similar things, but I do all the dishes. I do the shopping. There's a lot of things I do, a lot of the housework that I do, and primarily because I don't want my wife to have to do them. And I do that for her. It's an honoring for her.
That's right.
I made sure I got up in the middle of the night with the kids, not my wife. And I did that as an honoring because she gave up her life to have those kids.
That's right.
She carried that child. I didn't get that
Experience,
joy and that honor.
Yeah.
And I mean honor carrying my children, but she did. So I said, I'm going to honor you, God, by honoring my wife, and I'm going to do the things that I need to do as a man. Learned a lot of lessons in that time. I don't know if you did.
If you were up the middle of the night thing. No, I agree, and I do the same thing. My wife has today even has a very tough job, and I try to be a good role model, even because I am home semi-retired, and I take care of everything. I take care of she doesn't come home and has to do anything. It's going to be taken care of for her. But I want my sons to see that it doesn't matter which one of us is working, because there was a time where she wasn't working. She was home with the boys, and I was at the school working late till 10, and she would take care of the house, and so we just knew how our roles played out, and it was something that you're right. I like the word honoring there, because that's exactly what we're doing for each other.
And more than just honoring, you're also investing in your children, something that they can physically see and tangibly see. That's going to pay off later on. How you treat your wife is how they're going to treat their wives. Exactly. And I'm so very proud of my boys and how I've raised them in that area. They still open the door for ladies. They honor them. Their wives will know they're the greatest. And I can already see Cameron and Ashley already. How wonderful they are as a couple. And Cameron works hard at doing that. And he's I've done all I can do. And I'm just so proud of him as a man, and he's done a really good job.
They're wonderful kids, and I echo that sentiment about mine. Okay, here's an interesting question: is there a mistake that taught you the most about life? Is there anything that you can go back and recollect as a dad, or not even as a dad, maybe mistake-wise? We probably have too many on this one, but I just thought I'd run this one by Ted, because. Not that you want to air your dirty laundry.
Well, no, it would have been that my introducing them to Tom, their uncle.
Hey!
So that might have been the only big mistake.
Are we on TNT TV right now? Where are
this is T. I see the red light flashing. I don't know that there's one in particular. I just know that that there's what you have to make sure of is when you do make mistakes, that you, as a man, especially in front of your kids, you fess up to it.
Yeah.
You let them know that you don't cover those things. You don't run from them. My boys always knew that if there was ever tension in the house with me and the wife, which I can honestly say there hasn't hardly been, but we learned how to deal with that in front of our kids. There'd be times where they knew, okay, I said something wrong, and my wife is obviously showing that. And with that being said, I had to make sure that I apologized, and they knew that and saw that. And but I also told them, I said, boys, sometimes you're going to say some dumb things. And I said, the most important thing you could ever do is graciously go and apologize and make sure that your wife is happy. Make sure that, because whether we all joke about it or not, a happy wife is a happy life.
That's right.
So
I can tell you too, I will say that the one thing not to say all the mistakes I've made, there's been too many, I guess, but I try to echo to my boys, try to be humble.
Yeah.
You're not always right.
Yeah.
People have a tendency to just stand their ground. I'm right no matter what, and it doesn't matter. That's silly. It
is.
Have the ability to say, you know what, I love you enough to say, I'm sorry. This shouldn't have gotten to where it is.
Yeah.
And it's crazy, and be that role model. Because God wants us to have humility in our lives. God wants us to learn. It's a tough way to learn, especially our family. Gee whiz. But it's something that it's a learned trait. It's something that you learn and you keep learning over and over again. And humility is, that can be a tough one for a lot of people to deal with. Let's just say that.
If you've made mistakes as a father, as a man of the house, it's okay. It's Father's Day, and you're being honored because you're a great guy. You really are, and your family loves you.
That's right.
And it's not too late to make the changes that you battle with inside your own mind.
That's right.
Because we all do. I know we do.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes you'll sit on the couch and you'll see something in your house, whether papers are flying. We don't.
Wow.
You see things happen, and you think, boy, I wish I was better in that area, or I wish I would have done this or that. And how many of you out there said that by the time I'm 30, I want to be a millionaire? How many said that you're going to have better cars or better this and that? You know what? One of the greatest things that's happened to me with the Lord is the fact that I was able to be content. And I was like, Lord, I have a great life. And all my investments, all my time has always gone to my wife and kids more than me. I always joke and talk about, I feel like I'm always third.
Yeah.
It's always going to be God first, my family, then me. I'm always third. And
But how
sometimes
much contentment does that give you?
now it gives me all the contentment in the world. I can sit back and I'm so happy that I've had the life I had. I don't care about riches and money and Corvettes and things like that. I used to, don't get me wrong, I'm like everybody else.
That's right.
But my joy for the Lord now, because I've allowed him to run our family, and I just do the following with God, has made the whole difference in everything. Because when you put your family first and God first, let me tell you something, guys. No greater life will you ever have
That's right.
than doing that. And it's never too late. It is not too late.
That's right.
I don't care how bad you may have been or how quirky you may have been or what mistakes you've done.
Doesn't matter.
You give your life to the Lord and you love up on him and love your family, invest everything in them and not other dreams and things that you have. I promise you, God will supply the rest. It's amazing.
Yeah, like I said, take that big gulp of humility every once in a while when you need to, and God will do the rest. You watch your family will change like crazy. But you have to be you have to be the point person. You have to be. God gave us that role. He gave us that responsibility. So I think this will be our last question, Ted. What do you think?
Absolutely.
One more question, and so what do you? And I'll kind of make it for us, but you guys can remember. What do you remember most about our dad?
My dad had his own faults and so forth, and but he also had a lot of positives and stuff. And I remember how he could always talk wisdom into me. It didn't matter what I did, and there were just things in my life. I remember high school was over with, and I was a complete disaster. Okay,
This is true.
okay. You didn't have to agree with me.
He had a big reputation. Sorry.
All right. Nevertheless, high school was pretty bad. But I remember as I'm getting ready to get out of high school, my dad sat down and he said, "So now what? Now what are we going to do?" And back then I loved photography and I wanted to be a photographer really bad. And, even back then. And I remember my dad saying, "Here's what we're going to do. I want you to take the Sunday paper." And of course, voila, he had one right there.
Yep.
Here's the
How
Sunday
about
paper.
that?
And that's how you looked for jobs, by the way. There was no internet.
I know. Weird.
So I went through the help wanted ads, and he told me circle all the photography jobs. He goes, and then we'll talk about it. And so I went through and content on doing that, and lo and behold, there wasn't many, if any. So, and then he goes, "What did you learn from that, son?" And I said, "That there's nobody needs a photographer right now." And he goes, "That's right." And then he proceeded to tell me about electronics and the future of electronics, which of course was right. And he sent me through to ITT. Even though I didn't like it, it was the best thing for me. And little did I know that what he was doing was setting me up as a part, and this is an epiphany right now. He set me up for one of the greatest miracles, which was my testimony.
Oh, yes.
Because had I not gone to ITT, I would never have ended up having a disaster life in certain forms and sitting on a park bench one day, coming home with the bus, and
that's right.
my future wife would have picked me up and started taking me to school with her, listening to her radio station, which was a Christian radio station.
That's right. Which
So
saved your soul. That's
Yeah.
right. I
So
remember
it's
that.
It was all part of it. But the wisdom that my dad gave me, he was my sounding board. I think that was an incredible thing. And
Yeah.
I would say that to all you men out there.
Yeah.
Your kids, no matter what you think of them, they value your input. They value the things that you say. Now, they may not act like it. I mean, I was an idiot. Of course, I was not about to let my dad think he was right. And but you know what? I hold on to that to this day, and I would do anything to have him back and be able just to hear more words of wisdom from him.
That's right. They are watching, and so you do. And my dad was. He had a huge personality. He was. I wanted so much to be like his personality. He had this. When he entered the room lit up, and people knew he was in there. And I just loved that about him. And he was always very, very positive. Now, there were times at home he was not positive, so he had moments. But for the most part, he wanted people to see him a certain way, and that's what I remembered. That he just had this big personality, and I just loved that about him, and I always admired him and how he could communicate with people.
Oh yeah.
And he was a beautiful communicator. Guys, we've gotten a chance to share a little bit today. It's a little blustery right now, can you tell? And but it's Father's Day weekend, and you know, we are so blessed to have been able to share a few minutes with you guys today. Ted, is there anything you want to kind of walk us through here?
No, I really, guys out there, you know, it's so important to be a great man of God. It's so important to be a great role model, even if you don't know God. But to be a role model for your kids.
That's right.
Because as we can see with some of the youth out there today, we need good fathers.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take a lot of work to do that. Teach them the things that they need to learn. Teach them respect, good moral values, and about history, real history, and about, you know, people around. And, you know, take the time. One of the greatest things I love about is I seek out older folks that are mentors to me now, and I just listen. And sometimes you find yourself just engulfed in their story, and it's like, wow, the wisdom there.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I mean, they just bring so much to the table.
Yeah.
And also, you know, let your personality and what you go outside your family too. It's okay. I always try to make it a part to play ball with the neighbor kids.
Yeah.
Out front, because some of them don't have dads.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to replace anybody's dad, but I'm trying to be there when they need me. And you know, it's funny because one of my neighbors, he's a Cambodian guy, and he is just outgoing. He's awesome, great grades in school, and you know, he bought me a Christmas present out of the blue. He bought me tennis shoes so that I would be able to continue to play football with him, because I taught him how to play football out in the front yard, and his brother, and they just. You know, your influence goes farther than you think. So have a wonderful Father's Day. Make it a great weekend. Enjoy it out there. Close her down for us, Ted. What do you?
Enjoy your family.
Enjoy
Be
your
out
family.
there. The reason it's Father's Day is because you're a father, and you know your heavenly Father is looking down. He's smiling at what you've done. Let's all be good men out there. It's a great time to be a man. So
God bless you guys. We'll talk to you soon.
Good morning again in New Day Church. Max and I are going to bring you the announcements. We'll see if he can last through this. I just want to remind you, Wednesday night prayer, 7 o'clock live, always a great time. Cindy and Scott killed it last Wednesday. Still, if you're looking to help out or to be a part of prayer, reach out and join us. Also, Thursday nights are How God Saved Me or TNT TV. So join us Thursday nights live at 7 p.m. Also, I want to remind you that online church is every Sunday at 10 a.m. Wasn't our live meeting at Creekside last Sunday just completely awesome? I loved it so much. I loved seeing everybody. The worship team killed it. It was just an awesome time. So go onto our Facebook page, go onto our web page, and keep up with what's going on. There's devotionals out there. And before I close, I want to say Happy Father's Day. I'm so grateful for all the fathers out there, and you guys are just the best. You make life great for your kids, and husbands make life great for the wives. So just Happy Father's Day. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.